hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the abandoned mansion at the end of Hollow Street. It had stood for centuries, its towering facade now cracked and worn by time. Legends whispered of the horrors hidden within, of souls trapped in eternal torment, of shadows that moved without light. Few dared to approach it, and those who did never returned the same dot. David was not one to believe in ghost stories. He had spent years debunking urban legends, exposing hoaxes, and proving that fear was nothing more than a trick of the mind. So when he heard about the House of the Dead, he saw it as an opportunity, another tale to unravel, another myth to shatter. Armed with his camera, flashlight, and unwavering skepticism, he stepped into the night, ready to prove that there was no such thing as the supernatural. As he reached the gates, a chill ran down his spine. The rusted iron creaked open as if welcoming him inside. The air was thick with decay, the scent of rotting wood and something else, something putrid, something ... wrong. Brushing off the unease, he pressed forward, his flashlight cutting through. The darkness inside. The house was a relic frozen in time. Dust-covered furniture sat untouched. Portraits of long-dead residents lined the walls, their painted eyes seeming to follow his every move. The silence was deafening, save for the occasional creak of the wooden floorboards beneath his feet. He ventured deeper, each step taking him further from the safety of the outside world. The deeper he went, the more he felt a presence await. In the air, unseen eyes watching his every move. He shook off the sensation. It was all in his head, he told himself. In the grand hallway, he set up his camera, speaking to it with confidence. Another night, another haunted house. But just like all the others, this one holds no ghosts, no spirits, just dust and forgotten memories. As if in response, the chandelier above him swayed. A low whisper echoed through the corridor. He turned sharply, his flashlight beam darting across the walls, but there was nothing. His breath came in shallow gasps, his logical mind struggling to override the fear creeping into his bones. Determined, he pressed on. The basement door loomed ahead, slightly ajar. He hesitated, then pushed it open. A foul stench rushed out, a mix of damp earth and something far worse. Descending the steps, his heart pounded in his chest. The basement was unlike the rest of the house. The walls were lined with strange symbols, the floor littered with remnants of old rituals. A massive, rotting wooden coffin sat at the center. A guttural sound, low and rumbling, filled the room. He spun around, his flashlight flickering. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the walls, twisting and writhing. The coffin creaked, the lid shifting slightly. Every rational thought screamed for him to run, but his legs refused to move. The lid slid open, revealing not a skeleton, not dust, but a mass of darkness, shifting, pulsating, alive. Eyes, dozens of them, blinked within the void, fixing their gaze on him. A whisper slithered through the air, his name spoken in a voice he did not recognize. Terror finally took hold. He stumbled back, scrambling up the stairs, but the darkness followed, tendrils creeping toward him. The house groaned, walls closing in, the exit seeming farther than before. He burst into the hallway, only to find the front door gone. In its place stood a mirror, reflecting not his terrified face, but a twisted version of himself, grinning with hollow eyes. The air grew heavy, his lungs struggling for breath. The house was alive, feeding off his fear, pulling him deeper into its grasp. His screams echoed through the halls, swallowed by the endless dark by morning. The house stood silent once more, its secrets buried in shadows, waiting for the next soul to wander in and never return. Hours passed, and darkness swallowed the world outside. The house was no longer a place of wood and stone, it was a living entity, waiting, breathing, watching. The portraits along the walls shifted, eyes blinking as unseen figures moved in the corridors. Whispers slithered through the empty halls, calling out names of those long-forgotten. David, trapped in the endless void of the house, wandered aimlessly. Time had lost meaning. Was it minutes, hours, days? He found himself reliving moments, seeing himself enter again and again, hearing his own voice echoing in loops. The darkness toyed with him, showing him glimpses of himself. Distorted and twisted, he saw his own body lying lifeless in the basement, yet he was still walking. He saw his camera playing footage he had never recorded, voices speaking words he had never said. The house was reshaping reality around him, breaking him piece by piece. He screamed, but no sound came out. In the attic, old furniture covered in white sheets stirred. A chair rocked back and forth, yet no one sat in it. The windows showed not the outside world, but glimpses,